Join us as James asks the rest of the Venture into Vimuros cast about real events that transpired in our fictional role-playing game. Every triumph, every mishap, every moment that they felt like asking about will be unveiled in this video. This is History Check, a show by Ampersandbox, where we have decided a discussion is better than a recap.
Actually, that's a perfect segue to one of my first questions that we can use for Tavern Talk, which is for kind of everyone, but mostly like Zanog's character, where it goes to necromancy and like how necromancy works in Vimuros, because in other systems it's fueled by like negative energy, like a corrupting energy. And I know that we've talked before about how Zanog treats it like a tool or just something that can like be used. Again, this can be for anyone, but is there like a corrupting aspect to necromancy even though Zanog uses it like a tool?
Are we doing this? Are we doing it? Yeah, we'll do it live.
Yeah, do it. Just do it. Just go right into it.
So I honestly, like, I haven't given much thought into that because there hasn't been moments of like the repercussions. Like we've been responsible with all the undead to like at least dispatch them before the 24 hours is up, or me reestablishing control. So like we haven't had like a roaming band of zombies just like attack a town because I forgot, or like they got lost or something like that. So there hasn't been any real consequences to my actions.
Well, in your backstory there is.
Right. Well, I mean, like that, but that's just the one. Like he was dealt with. You know what I mean? Like it was only one guy. You know what I mean? And there was nothing really.
Well, the half your life in prison is also one of the repercussions.
Well. I'm talking like currently, like
In game.
Yeah, and simply like I read the animate dead spell and I see the one line that says you fill the corpse with a foul mimicry of life. Right? It doesn't mention anything about like contorting the soul or like corrupting anything. It's simply taking the husk and filling it with your own will and filling it with whatever magic, whatever it is, to then be reused as a weapon or, you know, a tool or whatever. Yeah, whatever my will deems it to be as the caster. So like that's how I kind of look at it. I don't look at it as like I'm slowly corrupting, or will be corrupting people's bodies. They're not going to care. They're dead.
But the reason I bring it up is just because like we talk about Ograttis in the history and like the founding of Vimuros, and not only how deadly he is, and we've mentioned also how like Zanog during the siege battle at the end of season 1, like how powerful it actually was, because he's just mowing through, killing the other army, picking them back up, and keeps running. Again, we haven't seen lasting effects, and like having Bex know nothing about necromancy and seeing this happen at the moment has been very like lenient, or not lenient because like whatever. It's just like I
think Bex has had an open-minded response.
Yeah, it's like I've seen a lot of things. I haven't seen this before. I'm gonna see what happens, kind of thing. Because again, I haven't seen it before, but I think if we can learn more about Ograttis a little bit, which as players we know information like what his influence was or potential corrupting influence, because yeah, seeing the long term of necromancy, that would be something interesting, either the end of this season or next season. And then also not to go too much into before times, because you do have Ograttis as a main person, how is that weaving into the story?
The way this wasn't fully intended, but the way that I've been seeing necromancy unfold in Vimuros is it's illegal, and because the punishment for necromancy is so severe, it is treated more like an organized crime more than like this dark hidden magic. The people that know how to use it, they do so carefully, they do so in an organized manner. And Zanog's no different from Zanog's no different from Ograttis in that manner of having it well maintained, having a good understanding of how to use it and when not to use it.
And that kind of goes a little bit with some of the stuff that Josiah's been through. Like, he hasn't seen necromancy in the level that like Ograttis or Zanog wield it, but as far as Josiah's backstory and the black market and stuff goes, I mean, he's seen necromantic actions. You know, he's dealt with a death cult before, but he's never seen it like this. And I think that's a little bit of that idea of like it's organized crime as opposed to, like Josh was saying, like dark evil magic. And
Yeah, it's not
I think it's a little bit of also, yeah, I think it's also a little bit of like why Josiah's response to Zanog doing it was like, whoa, that's kind of gross, as opposed to like, what are you doing?
It's interesting you bring up Josiah. Why is he a dick?
Did you just say it's interesting that Jacob brought up Josiah?
Yeah, I bring up Josiah every chance I get, even with my family.
I figure we're all gonna bring up our own characters at some point, but you know, one of my next questions is why dick?
Well, I mean, again, like Josiah's an old man who's been in the military for a really long time, and he's more recently in his life no longer in the military, moves into the black market, is doing his thing in the black market, and I just has everything fall apart time after time after time after time again. I'm pretty sure there's a song about that, you know?
Time after time.
That's
it, don't say anymore.
Sorry, guys. No, but like it's a lot of a trauma response. It's a lot of trying to work out his own feelings about himself, you know. And not to mention that like Aurelia was like finding Aurelia really balanced him out as a person, and it kind of cut his like when he first found her. It kind of took the like I need to get revenge on Victor, and kind of dulled it out. He kind of gets into a situation where he can finally take that revenge and fails, and Aurelia goes to sleep for like she's asleep in the beginning of our campaign. You know, he hasn't talked to her, hasn't heard like hasn't got a glimpse of her power or anything in the last year and a half, and then our campaign starts. So he's just kind of been riding the wave of, you know, Aurelia keeping him balanced out, and then when she dies or sacrifices herself to bring him back to life, it unbalances him, you know. And that's very much like what I role played in the beginning, right when you started, James, is like he got to be more mean. Like before you started, Josiah was goofy, you know, like he was I played him as the goofy character with Reese. He was just making fun of Reese's accent for the entire beginning of our show.
I completely just realized that Josiah's a crystal mommy.
Yeah.
You completely were like, this crystal protects me, it balances me.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And you like 100%. Charged it by the moonlight or whatever.
100%.
And now that it's gone, you're like,
yeah. Josiah is a crystal mommy. A mamacita, if you will.
Well, I think both as like a player and then as characters too, the thing that I'm still learning is how the Ioun, like I know the general lore that we have in our intro about like the Ioun stones, and then specifically like Josiah's relationship to it, but I'm also interested how much you can share of like Cecilia, right, the deity who like came to Nullmoros.
I got a book.
Like, how much of it can you share? Because we also talked about it where Thesu gave us the lore of the woods.
Most adorable creature ever.
You know, like, how much of that is like feeding our campaign, and then also seeing it just be mined by like Josiah's army.
It very much is the forgotten history of Vimuros. Vimuros used to be just one little city, where the six stones were, I said, in convergence. They're all together on one within a radius of each other. Maybe not physically connected, they're all right there. When they were all together, during this time, there was Ioun spirits, which I've called them. The Ioun spirits would have each tagged along with a person, just to help balance out the motives and emotions of the people living close to this very powerful blessing, like the physical, tangible, the power of the goddesses among us. Like, everybody's stats are a minimum of 20, like. So the spirits would kind of be like, they work for Cecilia, and they kind of just make sure bad shit don't happen. Then there's Ograttis, who leaves because he wants to figure out necromancy, and he's away from his Ioun spirit. He doesn't have that balance, and he's like, I can use those stones for myself. So he comes back with a dead stone, with a powerful horde. It's like, I got a wild idea. I want the blessing for myself. They split up the stones as an act of protecting them. You can't take them all if they're far away from each other. When they split up the stones, the Iron Spirits have died, and their corpses are the Iron Stones, which are in modern day just like magical batteries, except for Josiah stumbled across one that was not fully dead.
And you could argue we kind of stumbled across 3 in a smaller sense that were not fully dead. 'Cause even like Fesu said, like, he's going to take care of the spirits that are inside and try to like cultivate them again.
That's true.
All that to answer, that's why Josiah's a dick.
Yeah. No, it makes sense. Like, because I think that for me was the missing piece of, like, they were something and, like, a being at some point.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because I saw them both as, like, some of them are somewhat sentient, and then some of them are just very fancy stones that
Yep.
Crystal Mommy and Daddies want to hoard. And then the Nomorites want to destroy.
Hey everyone, it's Jacob here. Thanks for hanging out with us. If you liked what you just saw, why don't you like, subscribe, and absolutely pound the notification bell into oblivion. And while you're at it, comment below and let us know exactly what you like from the show. Over here, that's what YouTube thinks you'd like. But over here, that's what we think you'd like. Don't let us tell you what to do. Why don't you go check out our back catalog of shows and tell us exactly what you want more content of.
Anyway,
that's all I got for you for now.
Hang
loose.
loose.